Hi, in this episode, I'm going to talk about expat careers. And especially when you get the offer, what are the 3 things that you definitely need to consider before making the decision? Expatriate jobs can be really exciting. They can be very beneficial. They can be adventures for you and your family, and they can be very good for your career progression. Not always, but many times they can, especially if they're managed correctly from the company side and from your own side. Expatriate careers and jobs can take you anywhere. The world is your playground. Some people and some families decide that they do the expatriate careers throughout their lifetime. Some decide that they will take one assignment of 3 years, another for 3 years, and then return to their home countries. Basically two different groups of people, less in between. You either own it for the full, or you make it as a one-off or 2 times off experience with your family. Now, expat contracts used to be even flamboyant. There used to be money was there. Everything was taken care of. It was fairly easy at least from the financial side, to make the decision to say, we're going. This is going to be exciting. We're all taken care of. Let's do it. Times have changed, and contracts vary according to the companies, according to the destinations where you're going to be sent, and also positions. So the top level, C level and VP plus levels, they tend to be fairly secured and standard still, even nowadays. So if you're a C level candidate, they will take care of you wherever you're going. This will be something that they have to do because they need to attract you on that level to go somewhere. Now, levels below the management level, kind of mid-level managers and experts. Now that's where there's a lot of variety on what different contracts can be. They can be what we call the full expats, which is housing covered, holiday travel covered, competitive salary, which is normally on a headquarter level or international level, less on the local level. You can have, in the full package, you would have schooling covered if you have a family, move is covered, healthcare is covered. That's a full expat package. Those have come down. There's not so many, but the C level is there, and depending on the company, some companies have trouble finding people, depending on their headquarter location as well. People don't want to go that often, and then the package needs to be increased and made a full expat package that people go. So that's a full expat package. Then you have kind of variations of it. It could be that in the full expat you would get cover for housing as well, whereas a variation might be, look, we give you a competitive salary, we cover the move, and we take care of the schools, for example. Or another variation would say we cover your move, you get a global salary, which is good on a local level, and that's the variation. This will be kind of a local plus package, what they call. So you're it could be on a local contract, but then your salary is more on an international level. And anything in between, move is covered, half of the move is covered, the whole thing is covered. So really variations of the contracts. So make sure when you get into negotiations, ask clearly, what are we talking about? What does the contract say? What's the proposal? Does this compare to others who have expatriated from our company? Is it a fair and comparable proposal? What about the benefits of expat jobs? Quite a few, actually. They're not for everybody. If you don't like uncertainty, and if you don't particularly appreciate doing new things and going through the hustle in new places, then this might not be for you. But if you're adventurous and you want to advance your career through international assignments, then expat careers are really good. So they can advance your career if you have the right position. We'll talk about it later. They can be used as private adventure or family adventure. You get to know new cultures, new countries. And if you have an open mind, they become adventures for you. If you don't, they can become a burden if you're not willing to take a look around you and open up. Another pro is financially. They can be very good for you if depending on the package, but normally at least full expat packages or close to full expat packages are reasonable alternatives when it comes to financials as well. So in many countries you'll even be able to save, and if your housing and schooling is, for example, covered, then you can save a bit for the future. Now, what are the cons? Potential cons. It's really more than anything, it's the adaptation of to the new environment and the culture. If that's not there, those 3 years or 5 years can be really long. If the mindset is different than in the ideal solution. Now, also depending on the position, you have to create visibility for yourself. I'll get to those in a second. So, how to make sure that when you're out of sight, that you are not out of mind when it comes to your further career progression. And also cons, of course. I mean, depends which country you're heading towards. Security levels can be different than in your home market. All these need to be considered as well. And if you travel with the family, then family and the children, they take extra care as well, or your partner. You have to consider those, that everybody's on board and happy in the destination. Now let me get to the 3 tips or must-dos for me that I consider very crucial. There's more things to consider, but these are 3 really, really important points that you need to take before you say yes or no, or any other in between. These 3 things are position, network, and package. So let me start with the position. Now, normally it is a position which is offered by the company to an existing employee. They have a particular task or position in another country that needs to be fulfilled, and they need to send somebody from the head office for various reasons. Or it's a position that is a direct hire from outside, and it's promoted already as an expat package. This is going to be covered, so you enter into an expat agreement straight away. Why is position important to consider? It's very crucial to have a look at the whole job description, what's included, what's the task on hand that you're being recruited for. Like I mentioned in the previous videos, you're normally hired for your upside, your revenue generation potential, either in sales-oriented activities or cost-cutting, productivity gain-related activities. And on the other side, you consider for the risk. How risky investment are you for the company? And the same thing goes for the expat position. Why am I being hired? Is it because I need to open a market? I need to boost sales? Is it because we need to expand? Are we adding factories? What is it that I'm being hired for? Or do we have severe issues with operations? Do we need to cut costs? Do I need to clean up organizations, make transformation, change people, whatever it is? Make sure that's clear. Make sure you understand, because there's consequences. Normally when it's about boosting a market, things tend to be more straightforward. People are happy when you recruit them. People are happy when you give them bonuses. People are happy when you create new things. And same goes with the local authorities if you have a connection. Now, let's say you're hired for operational efficiency, or you need to make some reductions or redundancies. Now, the situation changes, and you need to be ready for it. It's a new environment, new culture. You many times entering in organizations where you don't know who knows what and who. If you need to make organizational changes, you don't frequently know the connections that people have. And all these things, they reduce your risk of getting severely burned. You don't know the connections. You don't know what happens when you pull this or that. That risk needs to be taken into consideration before you sign. You need to get to know the situation better, and you also need to have there's a risk premium also, because you're taking the risk for yourself. Also, what is the repatriation, or what's the career plan going further in your career? This can be, you're going to be far away. You're not going to be visible there in the headquarters where you came from or where you're heading next. Is there a clear repatriation process for you? After how many years, or is it undefined? What happens next? Where do you go? Is it still open? And is that risk or unclarity, is that okay for you? Are you happy with that? So that's for position. Second, network. Out of sight, out of mind. That's an old saying which goes that if you're shipped somewhere, if you're away from the outside of the eyes of the decision makers who define your future career steps, how do you make yourself visible? How do you visit? How do you attend meetings? How do you have checks with these people? Do they come to your country where you are? Are there any ways that you can ensure that you get at least a quarterly FaceTime with people who will also then be important to your future career? And this is pure self-promotion. There's nothing wrong with it, because you need to be made sure that you stay on the radar for the HR, for the talent management, for the line management, for the people who will make your next position happen as well. So it's not just your business results where you're working. It's also to make sure that the people who define your next career steps together with you, they know the results and they know where you're heading. So that's network. And thirdly, the package. Package needs to be overall something that you are comfortable with, that is interesting for you. If you're traveling with a family, pay special attention to the schooling, to the space needs that you have, to the areas where you're going to live, that they're comfortable and safe for your extended family. Also, traveling with a partner, make sure you have a look that whatever compensation there is, or housing or activities, that they are in a level that the whole family and you stay comfortable. Money-wise, depending on what's being paid, if you're only getting paid the competitive compensation, then make sure you look at the cost of living indexes, follow all the expat forums, ask questions there, see what's the true cost of living. Many times you will see that even if the cost of living is 50% in your destination country, because you're an expat, because you're a foreigner, you're going in, you tend to live on the more expensive areas, and the housing can actually be same as at home or even higher many times. Because you pay for security, and also as a foreigner, you always get tricked left and right. So you have to have a good 20-30% premium on. Locals will see the opportunity as well. And it's the same everywhere in the whole world. So make sure you have a look at the package, what's included, what's the total package, what is my family structure, what do we need. Be careful not to see too many rainbows and cupcakes when the offer comes out. Data speaks, have a look at the numbers, talk to other expats, talk to your friends who are already there, get their numbers and compare what's on the offer. Don't go shooting from the hip and thinking like, well, maybe it will work out. Once you're in a destination country and if you see it doesn't work out, it's really hard to start making the changes then. So those are my 3 must-dos for expat jobs. There's plenty more, but with those 3, you should be already well ahead of the curve to your new destination. Enjoy.